Friends, last year your dollar lost a ton of value. Inflation rose by almost 7% in just 1 month toward the end of the year. And that means in 30 days, your dollar became 93 cents. Inflation is a silent killer. It is a hidden tax that is felt by everyone. And this administration, yes, the Resident's Day, is only making it worse. Inflation is not slowing down, it's escalating quickly. So gold provides a hedge against inflation and can protect your family's wealth. Legacy Precious Metals is the company that I trust for investing in gold and silver, and they also do a lot of other investments like cryptocurrency. You need to diversify your portfolio. So you have to take this seriously, friends. Oil prices are rising. We've seen supply chain issues, and all of this is going to compound our inflation problems. You can trust Legacy Precious Metals because they give you unbiased counsel that is based off of your personal situation. So you can speak to an IRA expert at Legacy Precious Metals at 866-528-1903 or download the free investor's guide at legacypminvestments.com. That's legacypminvestments.com or call them at 866-528-1903.
As a constitutional law attorney, former senior legal advisor, and personal counsel to President Donald J. Trump, Jenna Ellis believes in the rule of law and the importance of integrity in our elections. And she's ready to tackle the big cultural and legal issues facing America. This is the Jenna Ellis Show. Here is your host, Jenna Ellis.
This is Aubrey Shines. I am sitting in for my friend Jenna Ellis. She's been out for a few days. Nope, nothing is wrong. She just needed some time to stick her little toes in some sand or water, hopefully somewhere, and kind of, unplug for just a moment. She is a worker. When my dad was living, I'm telling you, I learned that same principle. He work, and I see the same exact idea being lived out in Jenna as well. I'm so glad she's able to take a break. I'm glad that she and I have such a relationship that I could come in and just kind of sit for and just kind of move the needle hopefully a little bit, but you do not want to miss all the great things Jenna's doing. I said this before. I don't say it because she's my friend. As a matter of fact, let me just put a disclaimer out there right now. If I did not believe in Jenna Ellis, I would not do her show. That's just as simple as I can put it. I have a lot of friends throughout media, and I've had for a very long time. Some of those individuals, I would never sit in for them because, to the contrary, we don't see life the same kind of way. And I think they would find themselves in a conundrum to bring me then to their show, only for me to kind of almost repudiate everything that they're doing and saying and or believe. Now, I still believe in being amicable. This is one of the reasons why that even when I have friends on the opposite side of life, I have no problem exchanging ideas, etc. But I cannot endorse what they do. Jenna Ellis is another story. My hope and prayer is that she really has a great downtime and that she's able to get the, I believe, necessary rest as she does all the great things that she does and the great causes that she's championed. She really is a champion, and we wish her very, very well while she has a little time out. But I wanted to jump right into this. So many responses have already been coming in with the shows I've already done with Dinesh D'Souza, the others that I did with Captain Mattingly, which was phenomenal in my opinion. I can't even imagine the things that that young man had gone through, but I had a chance right here to kind of just interview and just share some things with the public that they did not know about the Breonna case. I think it's so impactful. Go back if you didn't get a chance. You really do want to hear it. That young man has a story to tell. I think he's been in very, very unjustly, in my opinion, just no justice at all with the media. When I look at people like LeBron James and Oprah Winfrey that all but call this man a racist for doing his job, he's not a racist. He was a man serving and protecting, as all of us can only hope and pray that in the time of need, we would have men and women of that caliber that would go out and serve and protect us. I love the work that he's doing. My hope and prayer is that he does very well in life. However, wanted to get into this last bit here with you guys. Again, so honored to be with you again. Those of you that are looking right now as well, nope, I'm not Jenna Ellis. She's the more beautiful one. I'm the other guy that needs and would hope to get a lot of cosmetic surgery. Maybe I need to go that route. Maybe I could get almost as close as to where Jenna is. I doubt it. I'm kind of stuck with who I am and what I look like. And so there you go. So let's have a moment here. I think you're going to really, really enjoy this. I want to address something that I know Jenna's heart would be in as well, because she and I at various times, again, some of you may not know, maybe this is your first time tuning in. Maybe what you would find is that Jenna and I shared a platform at one point called Real America's Voice News. She had a phenomenal show, and I was her guest every Friday. We would kind of do a roundup of various things that were on that particular week. And these are some of the subject matters that I wanted to just kind of jump into for just a moment here. And one of them is this fake idea, this false narrative that America is this racist place. Now, I want you to consider something for just a moment. Let's take, for instance, the Jussie Smollett case. I always found that to be interesting for numerous reasons. One, I lived in Chicago. I was kind of born and bred there, actually in the suburbs of Chicago, not in the city itself. But I did go to high school and college there in the city, and relatives in the city and friends in the city, etc. And I found Jussie Smollett's case to be very interesting. I want to talk about this. I'm not going to go over Jussie Smollett's case because those of us who from Chicago and listen at his story, we all knew he was lying anyway. That wasn't nothing new to us. But I want to show you something, how the media spins what they spin. See, in order to make racism alive, often what you have to have is a false narrative. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. You have to create racist things to happen where racist things have not really happened. Now, what does that really tell you? Let's examine the logic here. By the way, I've done the studies on this. If you have to have a false narrative that a racial incident happened, the reason you have to create it is because it doesn't exist. That's why it's almost rampant. But I only want to use, to make my point, Jussie Smollett's case to make the reason why the false idea that America's this racist melting pot is false. I only want to use Jussie Smollett to build the point. When I first heard the case that Jussie, I know the area, by the way, in which he was residing, and I know the area very well. I used to eat around that area all the time. Fantastic restaurants, by the way. No, not the Subway that he allegedly was going to, but there are some other great, great restaurants in that area. Take this into consideration. Jussie said he got up, and at 2 o'clock, I don't want to repeat all this, but he was going outside. Now, I checked the weather because I know winters in Chicago. Again, I live there. You're talking 16 below, 18 below zero. Let me help those of you that have never embarked on that type of temperature. It is brutal, to say the least. It really is. That's not even counting what's called the wind chill factor. So in the city of Chicago, when the wind is blowing, if it's just 16 or 19 below zero, trust me, depending on how hard the wind is blowing, it could range anywhere from 19, 27 below. As a matter of fact, I remember in one part of the 80s, I remember this, it was 62, 63 below zero wind chill factor there. So Jussie says he gets up and he goes out to grab a bite to eat. It's 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. Now, understand this. In that area, and this is what I want to get to, in that area, he said these guys allegedly attacked him. Again, he's been convicted. We get it. But I want to show you how the media spins these false narratives. That there was a couple white guys with these MAGA hats on. Pause, time out. Nobody is wearing a MAGA hat in the area in which Jussie Smollett lives. It is one of the most liberal bastions of residency you can find even to this day. And it was even decades ago. There are no conservatives in that area. And wearing a MAGA hat, let me help you. When it's 20, 30 below zero wind chill factor, you don't have on a cap. My God, if you could, you'd wear your comforter from your bed outside and wrap up and find yourself in a cocoon of warmth because you can't take it. It's brutal. I'll pause right there. I won't develop any of the case. Obviously, the prosecutors did a great job at doing so, and he was rightfully convicted. I don't think he got the proper jail time. I think it should have been more, because it had been you or I, we would be in there for a couple years, to say the least. But again, I'll digress to make the false narrative. Why did Jesse have to use that? Because he knew that in a current administration, this would really rile up people. And he got his wish. You had everyone from Hollywood. You had the Samuel Jackson types, the LeBron James, the Oprah Winfrey's, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. All of them jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, we can't take this racist stuff in America. Oh, elect us, put us in office. We'll get rid of it. Don't you find it a bit ironic? And I mean, here's the real rub. These are the same people in the same party that gave you this divisive politics and ideological bent in the first place. Don't you ever find it amazing that when Oprah Winfrey comes on talking about things like Jussie Smollett, that she actually supports the party? I'll say it again. She actually supports the party that was against the racist, quote, or ethnic groups being together in the first place. I mean, if this doesn't just make you want to bend over and laugh beyond your ability to contain it, I don't know what really would. When I see LeBron James doing the same thing, he complains about America and its racist appetite for things like Jussie Smollett. And I think LeBron's got one of the biggest, fantastic player, by the way. Love his game. Not more than Michael Jordan. Nope, he'll never be a Michael Jordan. But again, I digress here. But when I see guys like that complaining about America, nowhere but the United States of America can you find guys worth the monetary value as you do LeBron James, Oprah Winfrey. So let me tell you what they're really doing when they paint this false narrative of how unjust this nation is and how racist it is. Let me tell you what they're really saying. Please pay attention to this. What they're really saying in a nutshell, that they, being black, have found a way to become billionaires and worth several hundred millions of dollars, but you other blacks can't do it. Why? You don't have the brain power. That's what they're really implying. So what do? They create a false narrative, and that narrative is America's racist. They figured out a way to navigate through the racism they can achieve, but you and I, we can't achieve it. Why? We're not that smart to do it. That's what they're doing. That is why the Jussie Smollett case is indicative of every other racial hoax case. Here's what you won't hear in the mainstream media. I have documented how many times alleged KKK has been written on the walls of some predominantly historically black college and/or university, only to find out after the fact it was someone that was black that actually pushed it forth. What's interesting, you hear about the case initially, but you don't hear about it once it has been figured out. It wasn't some white guy or white girl doing it. Nope. It was a false narrative. Again, why is it false? It's simple. See, you have to make it up when it doesn't exist. And it's the same way we're seeing, not just in our education, not just with these other racial, again, almost ad nauseum attacks against certain people. See, the only way they can win this argument is to paint certain groups of people in the same brush. So if you are, for instance, a conservative, they'll tell you, you're racist. I literally had this conversation with someone just a few weeks ago. I won't expose whether or not they're male or female, and because I know they're going to be paying attention to this, and I'm not here to kind of put a flashlight on them and gaslight them to death here. I won't do that. But this was the conversation in a nutshell. I would vote for someone other than the party I've been voting for, but they're all racist. And I simply asked the question. I said, okay, let me get this right. If you can't vote for someone because they're racist, would you vote for, and I gave them these three scenarios, and I'll give them to you. If you're black and your grandchildren or children or nieces and nephew were in poor communities and they couldn't seemingly escape the poor plight of these black communities where the schools were just inundated with drugs, would you be okay if you could take your tax dollar, I asked this person, and move them to let's say a private school? And they said to me, oh yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat. I said, just two more quick questions. What about this one? What about at the end of your working career, that if you could, instead of paying into Social Security, if you could take that money, and by the way, when you're Social Security and your kids are over 18 years of age, they don't get any of the stuff you put in. You get a portion of it. Your husband or wife may get a portion of it again, unless they decease, then they don't any longer. I said, what would happen instead of, making the $1,200 or $900 that you would get from SS, Social Security, at the end of your working career, like if you could have put that in a private account, and instead of making that small amount of money, you could rake in $4,000 to $7,000 every month, and if you decease, you would pass that along to your children's children. Would you be okay with that? They said, yes, absolutely. I said, last question. Like if you had the option, instead of paying 47 cents of your dollar that you earn to the government, that you could keep all of it, let's say except for 10 cents, and that would go just to serve and protect those, or to buy into, obviously, our military, our police officers, etc. Would you be okay keeping 90 cents versus 47 or 52 cents of your money? Of course, you can imagine the answer. Like to keep the majority. I simply said to them, you just became, unbeknownst to you, a conservative. Then if you are conservative, how in the world do you vote for individual groups that won't give you anything that I just asked? And they looked at me and said, I never thought about that. Then, of course, me being who I am, I had the follow-up question. Well then, coming up election, how will you vote? I can't even make this up. Well, I hear you, Aubrey, but I can't vote any other way. I said, oh my God, tell me why. Because the other group is racist. I asked this last question, can you name for me just one law that these racist conservatives have put on the book that you, as a person of color, cannot overcome? Just tell me what that law is. Of course, there are no laws on the book, and they kind of heed and haw for a moment, and the only thing they could say is, well, I'm still going to do what I want to do. And I thought, this is a lost cause, because no amount of logic. Of course, I gave them the history, who the Republicans were versus who the Democratic Party was. And by the way, for those of you that are viewing, nope, I am not a Republican. I'm a conservative. I transcend just a party. I have conservative principles. That is where the buck stops. I wasn't able to help that individual. And why am I saying this to you? It's simple. As citizens of this great country, we got to divorce ourselves from this idea of just being black and white or brown or yellow or green as Shrek. We got to get away from this stuff. We got to get away from all this hyphenated language. What we got to do is see ourselves, again, me personally, I see myself as Christian first, then country second. Because I don't believe that as a Judeo-Christian practicing person, that I could, under any circumstance, vote for people, vote for groups that don't believe in my God, vote for individuals that don't believe in the principles that I think I've eloquently espoused. I don't think that that's impossible. I just think that's impossible. I cannot vote for individuals that don't believe in what I call natural marriage. Why? Because my God ethos allows me to believe in a God who created male and female. That doesn't mean under any other circumstance would I ever be mean towards, or if I had a company, would not hire someone that doesn't believe in that. Because it's not about that. But to vote and put people in office that don't share my opinions, that's fine. This is why this is America. This is why we have this constitutional republic. But I don't understand how any of us, looking at the evidence and the damage that's being done to our children, the damage that's being done to this nation by bad policies, that we can stay blind intentionally and not begin to be cognitive of the fact that we have a responsibility. This, my friend, is what Jenna Ellis' show is all about. She's there just to kind of give you the truth. You take it and do what you will with it. But I echo the heartbeat of Jenna Ellis on these issues here. This is why, while she's out getting a little R&R, I said, of course, I'll sit in. We'll make this thing happen. We didn't go over a list of things I should or shouldn't do or could not do. because Jenna understands that her friend Aubrey Shines, we're going to espouse the issues of our God and of this nation. And I believe once we do that, we all will become the better for it. I've enjoyed being with you these last few days. I hope that you tune back in. Jenna will be back with us. And until that time, don't forget, look me up. Every social media platform. Just go out to Aubrey's America, spell my name out, put an S on it, Aubrey's America, and you'll find me on Truth Social, you'll find me on Getter, you'll find me across the board as Aubrey's America. Also, every Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, tune in to America Shines, that's Real America's Voice. Tune in, catch some of my interviews. It has been a delight being with every single one of you. Hey, I hope some of you would just send me a quick little DM. You've been just overwhelming us with your response. Thank you for the kind words. And for those that were not so kind, hey, I love you anyway. See, that's what my God allows me to do. So I don't mind you cursing me out and saying all sort of nasty things and your various expletives. Hey, I welcome it all. Now, I'm not going to respond to those silly things, but I do welcome you to have that opportunity to express yourself. Hey, would you take a moment and share this with someone? I really enjoy being with you. My hope and prayer is that we can get back to what this great nation is really all about. That really is God and country. Until I come again, I wish every one of you well. God bless and God keep you is my hope in prayer. God bless.
Right now, Mike Lindell is having an incredible deal, and he's calling it the sale of the year. So for a limited time, you'll receive 60% off the Giza Dream Sheets that come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. You'll receive a set for as low as $39.99. I have these dream sheets. They're kind of awesome. I still love my slippers though, but you can use the promo code Jenna on all My Pillow product, not just the dream sheets, not just the My Pillow, not just the slippers, not just the robes, but even the towels, everything else. So for a limited time with any purchase, you will receive Mike's soft cover book for free when you use promo code Jenna. I've read his book. I told you, his testimony is so amazing, from crack addict to CEO. It's truly, absolutely a God story. And we all have stories of how God has intervened in our lives and has hopefully compelled us to accept his free gift of salvation and to start on a path of truth and to embrace the truth of who God is and how much he loves us. And, this book is amazing. Mike is amazing how much he's willing to stand firm, not just in the political sphere, but also with Christian truth, the Word of God. And you're going to love this book. So go to mypillow.com, click on the Radio Listener Square, use promo code Jenna. And along with this offer, you will also get deep discounts on all My Pillow products. So go to mypillow.com or call 1-800-564-8475. Use the promo code Jenna. That's JENNA.